massive winter storm is putting a damper on holiday travel, with airlines alone scrapping thousands of flights since Wednesday. And for the 100 million Americans traveling by air, that is unwelcome news. Well, joining us now to discuss the weather's impact on travel trends is AAA Northeast Senior Manager Robert Sinclair Jr. Robert, thank you for joining us. A really tough break here for travelers. You know, a lot of people are perhaps saving all their travel plans for this incredibly busy time. What sort of weight are we expecting on the roads this year?
Boy, it's going to be very busy. 90% of the 112 million people that will be traveling will drive to their destinations. And with the winter weather throwing a wrench into the mix, we think it's going to be very bad. We were anticipating 898,000 breakdowns nationwide over the holiday travel period anyway. When you throw the weather into it, it just makes the situation worse. And the cold weather in particular is very bad because it makes batteries lose power and it makes tires lose pressure. And flat tires and dead batteries are the top items we get calls for. So we're anticipating it's going to be rough, at least for the first couple days. The fact that the holiday is so long helps out.
You know, so many people already on the roads right now. What are you hearing in terms of road conditions as we see this winter weather or winter storm take hold across the country?
Well, many parts of the country out in the Midwest have closed the roads. They've shut the roads down completely because of blowing and drifting snow. And that's a problem. Visibility is a problem when people can't see. They crash and lots of bad things happen. So road closures lead to people being stranded by the side of the road. Hopefully they've got sustenance to keep them going, some water and some non-perishable foodstuffs. Certainly we make it a priority of those who might be stuck out on the roads, especially if they need pulling back onto the roads. People slide off. That's something we call an extrication at AAA, when they slide off the road and we have to winch them back on. We see a lot of those kinds of calls during this type of weather. So all across the country, it seems that we're getting this kind of weather. And particularly for those parts of the country that are getting deep freezes and aren't accustomed to driving on icy, slick roads, it can be very dangerous indeed.
And especially with gas prices, you know, falling at the moment, a lot of people perhaps encouraged to hit the road versus flying. But what about in terms of air travel there? What sort of disruptions are we seeing and how prolonged might that be?
Oh, flights are getting canceled and delayed all across the country. And very interestingly, New York is kind of the epicenter for a lot of air traffic control delays. Roughly 70% of all the air traffic control delays ripple from the New York area. We've got 6 major airports here. And because we're still using antiquated radar, ground-based radar, air traffic control, when the weather's bad, the planes have to get spaced out from maybe 2 or 3 miles apart to 25 to 50 miles apart. And that stretches things out and causes delays. We're in the process of switching over to GPS-based traffic control, I should say. Most countries around the world have done it, but we're geographically vast. And it takes more time for us to switch over to these new systems. It's called next generation. And so we're seeing lots of cancellations and delays. It might be a day or two to recover, depending on how bad it is in your particular part of the country, because if your flight is canceled or delayed, it's probably because there's no plane, and the plane has to get to where you are and turn around and be able to take you to where you want to go. So it's a bad situation. The timing couldn't have been worse.
Okay, well, wishing safe travels for everybody who is out there, whether it's in the air or out on the road. It's going to be a very busy next few days. AAA's Robert Sinclair Jr., always good to have you on the show. Appreciate you joining us today. Merry Christmas to you.
All the best to you and yours. Thanks very much for having me.